Hello and welcome to an Affinity Revolution tutorial. My name is Ezra Anderson, and today we're going to enhance this man's facial hair in Affinity Photo. This is a useful skill for anyone that does portrait retouching, or if you just want to see what you or a friend would look like with facial hair. If you'd like to follow along with the same image that I'll be using, I've included a download link in the video description. To make facial hair in Affinity Photo, we're going to use the paintbrush to paint hairs onto this man's face. The first thing we need to do though is make a new paintbrush using the perfect strand of hair. To make our perfect strand of hair, we're going to zoom into this man's face and trace over the hair that we want to use for our paintbrush. Any of these hairs could work well, but I think I'm going to use this hair right here to make my new paintbrush. First, I'm going to make a new pixel layer, and then press B for the paintbrush. Then I'm going to bring my paintbrush width down to 1 pixel. And then I can trace over this hair. Now that we've traced the perfect hair for our paintbrush, we're going to press Command or Control X to cut this layer. Then we'll press Command or Control N to make a new document. My document's going to be 80 pixels by 80 pixels. Then we can paste our perfect hair into this document by pressing Command or Control V. We need to export this document as a JPEG now. The shortcut to export a document is Command or Control Alt-Shift-S. You can keep all of the settings the way they are and press Export. Then we're going to come back into our picture of the man and load our picture as a new paintbrush. To do this, we'll come over to Brushes and then press on this icon up here and scroll down to New Intensity Brush. Then I'll select our hair and press Open. Now if we scroll down to the bottom of our paintbrushes, we can see that we have a new brush made out of our hair. I'm going to select this brush and then make a new pixel layer. Right now, if we begin painting, we'll see that our hairs don't look quite right. That's because they're too uniform. Real facial hair is much more random. So I'm going to press Command or Control Z to undo that last brush stroke, and then we're going to edit our new brush. To edit our brush, we'll right-click on it and then select Edit Brush. Inside the General tab, we're going to bring the spacing up to about 50%. Then we're going to come to the Dynamics tab. We'll increase the size jitter a little bit so our hairs will be different sizes. And since I'm not working with a pressure-sensitive tablet, I'm going to change it from pressure mode to random. We can also bring up the flow jitter so some of the hairs will be more or less opaque. And just to make it even more random, we'll give it a little bit of rotation jitter and scatter a little bit on the X and Y axis. When you're satisfied with how your hair is looking, we'll close out of this dialog box. Now let's try painting again. Our hair is looking much more natural now because it's random. However, it's still not the right color, so I'm going to press Command or Control Z and then come over to the Color panel. Then, using the eyedropper, I'm going to click and drag on it to select a color from one of the hairs. I've sampled this light brown color, which I can load into my paintbrush by just clicking on it. Now as I begin painting, my facial hair should also be the right color. Alright, that's looking much better now. Let's zoom out a little bit so we can get a better idea how our facial hair is looking. Now that we've set up our paintbrush, I'm going to continue painting to add some more facial hair. Facial hair isn't all one color though. In fact, there's many colors in this man's beard, so we're going to make more pixel layers, with each pixel layer having one color of hair. Let's come over to the Add Layer button and add a new pixel layer. And for this layer, let's make some darker facial hairs. To make darker facial hairs, all we need to do is change our paint color to a darker shade. Then we can begin painting once again. And remember that you can always change the size of your paintbrush by using the bracket keys underneath the equal sign on your keyboard. The left bracket key makes your brush smaller, and the right bracket key makes your brush bigger. I'm going to make another pixel layer, and this time add some highlight hairs that are close to white. And finally, we'll add one more pixel layer for some hairs that are close to orange. Depending on the person you're making facial hair for, you may want to use different colors than the ones I used for this photo. To see the difference all of our new facial hair is making, I'm going to hold down Shift and click on this bottom layer, and then turn them all off and on. In just a matter of minutes, we've really filled in this man's beard. And best of all, we can continue painting more hairs, or use the eraser to erase any of the hairs that we don't want. If you ever want to erase from your facial hair, just select the layer you want to erase from, and then press E for the eraser, and then you can begin erasing. But of course, our picture looks better without erasing all those facial hairs, so I'm going to press Command or Control Z to undo. If you want to make other types of facial hair, all you need to do is make a new paintbrush. For example, if we wanted to make some chin hair, we could come over to the man's chin and then make a new paintbrush based on one of his chin hairs. Or if you're working with a picture that doesn't have any facial hair, you can just Google for pictures with facial hair and then make your paintbrush based off of one of those pictures, and then use the paintbrush on the person that doesn't have any facial hair to begin with. Just remember to change the settings to make your paintbrush more random. By following the steps in this video, you can add facial hair to anyone in any picture.